There we go, we're recording. Okay. So let's find one that I'll give you on a test. Let me find one. I don't give you two either. I don't like doing that. Well, are they going to give? Here's one right here. So I want you to write those numbers down and use this as an example of a test question. Now I'm going to go through and do it on the Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can make them bigger for you. Because I can't make them bigger here. So I'm going to open in Excel. I hit that little button right here and it opens in Excel. Now, I am not asking you to master Excel, even though you need to before you go out in the real world. Okay? Take daggum CPT 170 and learn how to do it. And I'll put this in ascending order, hit data, ascending order. Now I'm going to raise it up to so y'all can see it. There you go. Write down those numbers. If you want to put them in your note, in your calculator, go ahead and type them in. But I want you to write everything we do in your notes because I want you to see how everything is done. Okay? Now, some of the things that most of you know how to do is the mean, the median, the mode, range, the mid-range, the variance, and the standard deviation. Now, some of you may not know how to do and some of y'all may have invented them. I don't know. But most people, when I say variance and standard deviation, they go, I don't know if I remember how to do that or not. Okay? So don't feel bad because I'm going to go through all of it. I'm going to show you how to do a 5-number summary. I'm going to show you how to put it in the normal curve. I'm going to show you all that stuff. But I'm going to do it all at one time. we're not going to do the mean today and then come back and do the median Friday and then do the mode. I'm not doing that, okay? Because most of you know these because to be in this class, you have to have had Math 101 and 102. And if you've been in those classes, you know how to average your what? Your grades together. So you know how to do this. All right, let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. X bar. That's the sample mean. X bar. X bar. Now, that's not the word X bar. It's X with a bar across it. Mu. Mu is the population parameter. The sample statistic is X bar. And it's also called the what? The average. The median is the calculated middle. The mode shows up the what? Most. The range is your high minus your low. I better use capital. High minus low. Your mid-range is your high plus your low divided by 2. So, with that being said, I want you to go through and find all those numbers. If you can't find it, just consider yourself a disappointment or failure and just sit there.
What is the AVE again? What'd you say?
Average. So what's the most annoying commercial? I was thinking that emu commercial.
I like that one.
What's up?
That is the most annoying commercial I think I've ever.
It's like emu.
I don't watch TV.
You're weird.
And if I do, I don't watch commercials. We record stuff in my house.
Whatever.
Or Netflix.
I can't even get y'all to talk about it, to get one person to say, leave me, emu. And the other, what was it, lawyer commercial?
The Jack Gilstrap commercial.
I ain't seen those.
Family, people that cry.
Yeah, that's mostly on local, and I don't watch local.
The
I hate the
Tom
ones
Sawyer.
where they try to make you feel bad about the dogs.
Oh, you talking about the guilt commercials?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. You got the people that have been starving for ever since I was born, okay? And those were on when I was born, and I'm like, where's all this money going? They've been starving for 50 years. No, they're going to all those politicians and all those leaders. That's where it's going. And then you got that 15 minutes PETA commercial. I wish they would put as much emphasis on the homeless in California as they do a freaking dog.
My favorite one's, what is it? Is it Hardee's where it's like, or is it Arby's? It might be Hardee's, where it's like making fun of vegetarians, and it's like, let's save the
I haven't
planet.
seen that
We talked
one.
about it last semester.
Oh, and they
Yeah.
don't have any plants on it. It's just all
Yeah,
roast
it's
beef.
Like, let's save the plants. That's Arby's.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Arby's. Yeah, Hardee's all have sexist commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Steyer's guy, he's just a Trump hater. I turn his because he don't really care about what he's running for. He just hates Trump. That's what his biggest thing is.
They're gonna put him in his place.
Yeah. The economy is the best it's been in 65 years, and we're going to... No, shut up, Hubert. Shut up. I'm not going to say anything. And we're going to hire some dimwit that makes his money off of buying and redoing prisons.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. All right, so what's the mean? We're going to add these up, and we're going to divide by what? How many are there? Dang old 7? So I'm going to divide by 7, and that should be what you get. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Sorry, I suck. That's what I've been told, so divide by 7. There we go. 267. Now, luckily, we're all whole numbers, so I don't think it's, let me check. I'm going to see if it's rounded. So, dang old format cells, dang old number, 4 places. Nope, that's the whole number. So, median. Well, how many numbers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If it's odd, write this down. You just pick the middle. Write that down. If n is odd, you pick the number. Pick the middle. If n is even, you got to take the average of the 2 middle numbers. Write that down. If n is even, take the average of the 2 middle numbers. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to highlight this yellow and equals that number. Mode shows up the most. Does any number show up the most? So you put NA, you put does not exist, there ain't there anything, any word that says there isn't one or isn't any. Do not put 0, because you're going to have some smart alecky teacher mark it wrong and put 0 is not in the subset. Okay? Don't put 0, put none, N-O-N-E. Make it a word. Range is your highest minus the what? Minus the lowest. Mid-range is equal to the highest plus the lowest, or the lowest plus the highest, because addition is commutative. And that's your mid-range. Now I'm going to highlight these two verde and highlight this one verde because those are the three numbers, write this down, those are the three numbers that represent the center. Those are the three numbers that are calculated different ways that represent the center. If they are close together, that means your numbers are tight. If they are far apart, all three of them are far apart, that means that your data is all over the place. So if I change this number, this 288, if I change that to 272, you'll start to see the three green numbers start to get what? Closer together. Versus 300. They start to go what? Apart. I see that? Now, I really don't care about the mode, and I really don't care about the range. But the other numbers, and these two are very, standard deviation is very important. I'm going to color that one aqua because that one's important. Those highlighted numbers right there are very important for the rest of this semester. Okay? Now, I haven't asked anybody to calculate anything on your phone, so why are y'all texting? Are y'all just being rude, or do you want me to call you out? What's the deal? If you have something that you need to do on your phone, where do you do it? In the hallway. Capiche? Starting to piss me off. All right, next. I'm going to put the handy-dandy formula of variance on the board. And I got to go back to the desktop because I've got to use this old software. Sorry. And I need to hit this button and bring that back up. Sorry, just give me a second. There we go. The formula for the variance is equal to the summation of x minus x bar quantity squared over n minus 1. Write that down. Because you need to read the formula when you need to know what to do. Because from here on out, if you ask me, how'd you get that number? I'm going to refer back to the what? I'm going to say, what does the formula say? You got to read it. The standard deviation, anybody know the relationship between the standard deviation and the variance? I'm sorry, what?
Don't you square it?
Square root. The standard deviation is the square root of the what? Or standard deviation is equal to the variance raised to the 1/2 power or 0.5 power. Should you know that for a standardized test? Yes. Because sometimes they'll say, what is the relationship between the variance and the standard deviation? And then it'll say variance to the 1/2 power, and you won't have a square root, and you won't mark it right because you don't know that the variance, the square root of the variance, is equal to variance to the 1/2 power. Okay? So those are the same things. So what does the formula say? It says x minus what? It says x minus x bar, right? Well, where do we see x bar? That's the mean. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to insert. Each one of these guys is called x. So I'm going to make a column. It's going to be called X minus what? X bar. So do that. Right now, I want you to make a column in your notebook, and I want you to go through and subtract the mean in your calculator from each one of these numbers. Do that. And I'm going to do it by saying this number minus the mean. If you know Excel, if you know what I'm talking about here, you need to lock it. Hit F4, box 4, and that'll lock it. And there is the numbers you should have. So go ahead and check them.
You do A1 what?
What?
What do you do for that one? A1?
Minus, and then the mean, and hit F4 and enter. And then copy it down.
Yeah, that's...
You do have an F4. Oh yeah, you got an Apple, so you're screwed. So you might have to buy an F4. Call the company and they'll sell you
Put
one.
it again so I can see what the F4 is, because I can just type it in.
F4 is right here.
On the little box. So I
Oh
can see
my
what pops
Lord.
up.
You wouldn't have to do this if you had a normal computer. There.
Thanks.
Yeah, you have to type it in when all you have to do on a normal computer is hit F4.
That's why you have to keep logging back in.
Well, that's because I work at a T-Rex college. It ain't because of the computer.
Yeah, it's not working.
Now, you're wearing a Clemson hat and a North Carolina State shirt. Why is that? That's just what you grabbed? What?
It was clean.
Oh, it's clean. I actually went to several conferences at North Carolina State. It's a real nice campus.
Yeah, I want that to college people.
Yep. It's a long drive though. And between Charlotte and Raleigh, it's like, oh God, am I ever going to get there? All right, so what I do, read the formula. What do you do after you take the mean from the X? What do you do? Square it, thank you. So this one is going to be called X minus what? X bar, quantity what? Squared. So I'm going to take that 9, that negative 9, and I'm going to raise it, shift 6 to the second power. Go ahead and do that. Copy it down. Check your numbers. Now, it's very important that you do and make notes in your notes on what you're doing so when you get home, you won't forget. And, you know, it'd be beneficial if I recorded this and put it on YouTube, but I ain't going to do that. I work at Tri-County Tech. We don't even know what YouTube is. No sneezing in class, please. Do not bless anybody in class. Incest is best. Yeah, you look at Akhenaten, you look at Tutankhamun, all of those, they were all screwed up.
She said that it was, she said because they didn't want people staying rich, like rich families staying rich. So they told them like this is bad, and every like poor people got with middle class people, and that's what she said.
I'm going to keep teaching my math, and I'm not going to say anything. Now, somebody, let's see what we've done so far. I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter, and I'm going to highlight, no, I'm going to use a different color because I try to do things for y'all. And I know y'all don't appreciate it, but I do it. I'm going to use this pink. Did y'all say that's pink? And I'm going to highlight this
figured
And
out how to do
that,
it.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to work here. And that is this number right here. And I'm just going to highlight that. No, we got to make it pink. We got to make it match. There we go. And then I square it. Take my handy dandy highlighter. We'll color that aqua. And we squared that. And that's what we did right here. And now we're going to what? Quit. When the tough get going, quit. What's that big funky E? I'm trying to ignore you.
Well, I figured out how to do it though.
How do you do it? Did you buy one from Apple?
No. So all you do is just press Command T.
Surprised you didn't have to go to apple.com and buy an F4 key. That's what you usually have to do to make your computer normal, is buy more stuff.
Whatever.
It's a scam. All right, so I'm going to color this one. I don't have an orange, do I? Yeah, I do. Ugh. That one, where did did it just erase my formula?
That's what you get for being rude.
Now, let me go down here.
You pressed a yes on something. I don't know.
Well, the computer's not set up to do what I'm doing, so that's why.
It's because it's not math.
There we go. Yeah, that has everything to do with the way the computer's set up. Ignorant. All right, so what do I do? What does the big sigma mean? I think I heard it. Sum. Thank you. All I heard was, So I'm going to add all these up, and that is your numerator. So write that down as the numerator for the variance. Now, since y'all worked so hard, I'm going to do the denominator. The denominator is going to be 6. I calculated that myself. Of course, where did that come from? Where did I get 6? N minus 1, there it is. N minus 1, 7 is N. There's 7 people in the classroom. Or there's 7 grades here. Or there's 7 weights, whatever the case is. N is 7. 7 minus 1 is 6. The variance is 107. Means absolutely nothing to you. But to get the standard deviation, you have to have the what? Variance. So I'm going to take this key and raise that, shift 6 to the 0.5 power. And there is your standard deviation. Now, I'm going to put something besides standard deviation, and I call it spread. If you've got a very large standard deviation, that means that the numbers are spread out. If you've got a small standard deviation compared to your numbers, then that means your numbers are closer together. What dictates whether it's big or not? The context. What numbers are we dealing with? What size are they? 200 to 300, Hubert. That's right, class. So is 10 very large or very small compared to 200? Small. So chances are it's very close. Now I'm going to show you how to do the curve. Make sure you write this down because I want you to look in the book. Somebody tell me where you see the empirical rule in the book. Empirical, I think it's spelled like that. Somebody got a book, tell me. Oh yeah, I told y'all not to buy a book, didn't I? Yep, I told you not to buy one. Go back to the bookstore and tell them that they're a fraud. That's what I told y'all to tell them. What's the empirical rules? What page is it on? Anybody got it? Anybody got a book? I suck. All right, here we go. Empirical rule. You draw a curve. You put 3 marks on the left, 3 marks on the right. Nobody's got a book? Well, somebody needs to look it up and bring it Friday and let me know what page it's on, okay? Look in your index and look up empirical rule. Thank you. He got his out. I appreciate you going to all that work. Thank you. It's such a large amount of work to bend over and pick something up.
You don't have books.
Because why? I told you not to have one, right? It's all my fault.
The worst part about the textbook, that's not actually a textbook, it's all loose leaf paper.
It's what?
It's not actually a textbook.
That is not my idea. I told them when they did that, I said, you're going to have a mess. You're going to have students carrying around a notebook. Half of it's going to fall out. They're going to tear out. Students don't want that. And they said, we're going to do it anyway. I said, okay. Knock yourself out. All right. You're going to label the middle with the mean. 267. Now, this is what you're going to be doing throughout the semester, so you need to get used to this. So you're going to be doing it in chapter 5, 6, and 7, and 9 and 10. Now, what do you do with the standard deviation on the right side of 0, or the right side of the middle? You add it. Did you find the page?
132.
Thank you. Page 132. Now, I'm going to show you something else you can do with the empirical rule. Google it. And I'll show you this Friday. Remind me to show y'all Friday. Google it. Copy the best one that you like. And then put 6 of them or 9 of them on a piece of paper, print it out, and copy it about 10 times. For the one person that's going to do that in here, you won't have to draw it over and over and over. Because usually one person does it out of 30. So I'm going to add somebody. Now I'm not going to add 10.34. You do that in your notes. But I'm going to add 10. So I'm going to add, so that's going to be 277 ... 287 ... 297 ... The 3 dots means you add the decimals. I'm not going to do that. Okay? I'm going to subtract 10 on the other side, and because I don't want to have to do I can't do decimals in my head. I'm not Rain Man, so I can't do that. So that'd be 256 ... 246 ... and 236 ... All right. Now you fill in the empirical rule. The empirical rule says you got 34% here, 34% here, 13.5 here, 2.35 here, and 0.15 here. 13.5 here, 2.35 here, and 0.15 here. 95% of your numbers are going to fall between 2 standard deviations. And that is called, as my daughter said back a long time ago, normal, or not unusual. The reason I say not unusual is there are some books that will not say normal. They'll say not unusual. Remember what I told you about some unusual, some people make things complicated to make themselves look big? Well, using not unusual is the same thing as saying normal. All right? What's outside of not normal, or the opposite of not unusual? Okay? Unusual. And we'll do unusual in blue. This is unusual. Right here, that's unusual. Unusual. And then what's outside of unusual? Dang old Michael Jordan, dang old Peyton Manning, dang old Tiger Woods. What's those? Your 6 foot second graders. What is that? Your outliers. Your outliers is outside of 3 standard deviations.
Here are today's top headlines provided by Google. POTUS Dullah's bail hearing will go on without him after suicide attempt. New York Post.
What?
Pro-Israel Democratic Super PAC takes aim.
Okay. Now, what should you, this is like 3.1 and 3.2 all rolled in one. And I believe, yeah, we haven't went through the 5-number summary. We're going to go through the 5-number summary. That's in like 3.4. So you should be able to work on 3.1 and 3.2. We will cover some more problems when? When's Friday? Okay, I'll turn off and take the roll while y'all go through y'all's convulsions.